Hi, welcome back to episode 16 of Inside the Cage. Today I'm here with UFC veteran and professional featherweight and lightweight fighter Weston Wilson. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me.
Yeah, no problem.
I guess, first of all, you have a very interesting background, you know, uh, mostly growing up in the US, but then moving to Brazil. I guess, do you think this would have at all been possible without the, crazy career move to Brazil?
Well, I moved to Brazil as a kid, in high school. I was still very much interested in fighting before I moved to Brazil and MMA. It was just a lot more prevalent in Brazil at the time. So this was 2006 to 2008. So MMA wasn't as big in the States yet. Um, there wasn't as many gyms. There's a lot of jujitsu gyms starting to pop up, but um, in Virginia where I was at, there wasn't very much. It was mostly wrestling still. Um, so yeah, I think Brazil just it gave me the ability to train and to get into experience MMA at a younger age for the time. So yeah, I would say it opened up doors for me for sure.
And then after that, you attended BYU. What was that like balancing, professional fighting with, academics at a pretty rigorous school?
Um, yeah, so I was in Brazil and I trained in Brazil. I went on a 2-year mission for the Mormon church. Um, Came back, I went to BYU. I took another 2 years off. So I took 4 years off fighting and then started fighting again at 23. Um, and yeah, that was tough. I was, full-time student, full-time. I worked a full-time job as well to provide for me and my wife, and was training full-time. So what ended up getting sacrificed was sleep. I was only sleeping like 4 to 5 hours a day, in order to do everything I needed to do. I'd get extra work in by riding a bike everywhere all over Utah, and so I rode a road bike and just pedaled everywhere.
And then, you had a successful career fighting for pretty much every promotion. And then what was it like? I guess, how do you find out about the UFC call? I guess walk me through how that process went.
Yeah, actually, I normally work remote for most companies, and the company I was with at the time, I actually had to go into the office. I was working. We had a board meeting that day, and I got the call, and what was really weird was I woke up to all these articles, and so I called my manager, and he's like, "No, as of last night, like they said they weren't going to sign you." And I was like, well, "I've got all these reporters saying that I'm fighting Brito on in 10 days," and then I went about my day normal, and then my manager called me at like 10. It was like, "Yep, you're in." And so then I called, Coach T. I called Wonderboy. I called my family, and I left work that day. I mean, I still worked. I didn't like quit my job, but I was just like, "Hey, I'm taking the rest of the day off." And yeah, I mean, that was pretty much it. It was pretty. What was unfortunate though is my wife was out of town, my parents were out of town, so everybody was like out of town, so I was home alone. And so that stunk because I didn't get to like celebrate with everybody around me.
And so I guess, obviously you're excited, it's been a lifelong dream. But is there a little piece of you that's a bit nervous? I'm going to get punched by Joe Anderson Brito in 10 days.
Yeah, no, for sure. It was very exciting, and then all of a sudden, reality starts hitting, and you're like, man, I'm gonna fight a guy who's outside the top 15. He's now in the top 15, but it's like, man, this kid is hard. He's aggressive. Um, I've only got 10 days to really prepare and get ready. Um, and yeah, so definitely like anxiety kind of hit in, and then at the same time you start getting all these negative articles about you and everything else about how you suck and everything else, and how the UFC made a bad decision. So that starts to play with your mindset a little bit. And but I have a great team. I'm able to like talk to Wonderboy about all that stuff, and he's able to say, "Screw it all." You just go in, and there's no expectation on you in this fight. Like, just go have fun, and and just do your thing. And so it was a little freeing after talking with Coach T and Wonderboy and all that, and my family and having them all around me, and all of us being out in Vegas together. It was a lot of fun, and it really like it put you at like it put me at peace, and it was like, all right, I'm good. Like, nothing really matters. There was no expectation, so anything I did do in that fight was all like a bonus.
And so you talk a lot about your team. What is it like, being able to kind of pick the brain of Coach T and, Wonder Boy, who's done everything possible in the sport, fighting for titles at MSG, headlining pay-per-views.
Um, Really, it's I mean, it's awesome. Like, I know my role, and I know my role was never like from an early time, because I started at the pit elevated at that time. Like, we were everybody every year, every season, we'd have somebody going into the Ultimate Fighter. So at one time we had like 9 guys in the UFC, and so I always knew, like, I was never like the superstar. I was always the teammate. I was always the guy who was the person getting the superstar ready. And so that role's always been great, and I'm okay with that. So getting to be in there, like, I've gotten to learn from Wonderboy. I've gotten to learn how he like manages, um, you know, the success, how he manages the failures, how he manages his image, his career, and all that. And so, and getting to kind of mirror that on a smaller scale, has helped me kind of stay grounded. Helped me say, like, okay, like, fighting's not the only thing, and um, so yeah, it's great, and we're more of like a collective. Like, there's no, like, Coach T, he's in charge, right? But what I do like about Coach T, it's not like my word is final. It's like, okay, well, what do you think? Well, let's play around with it. Let's see. Yep, I think it works. Like, let's go with that. Or it's like, I don't think it works. And so you need a coach who will hear both sides. He'll tell you what you need to hear, and he'll also listen to you at the same time. And like, that's really what's the most important part. And like, at the end of the day, I know that, uh win, lose, or draw, like, Coach T will always be in my corner, and he loves and supports me, and cares about my success and my family's success and everything like that. And I think that's like the important part. Uh and there's no, like, he doesn't treat me any different than Wonder Boy. Like, he treats us all the same.
Yeah, definitely. From an outside perspective, it definitely seems like a very close-knit gym. So that definitely seems to shine through. And then in your third fight, you fight Giga Saraki. You obviously have thousands of Indonesian fans messaging you. They're represented for a whole nation. I guess, what was it like to get that UFC win and not only be a UFC fighter, but to have a win in the UFC?
That was the only fight that I had a full training camp for one person. Like, the Joe Anderson fight, 30 or 10 days. My last fight was like 20 days, 22 days, and I had to get ready to go to China and everything else. And so that was crazy. And the Yiza fight, I didn't even get to train for it. So the Jekka fight was the only fight camp that I had, a full fight camp. It was also the only time that Steven and I weren't in fight camp together, because we aren't a big school. And so when we're in fight camp together, like, it's great, but it's also, we're dividing time and attention, and so it's hard, because both of us are like kind of selfless. So, like, we're like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna give up my time and attention to help you, and everything else. So it's always been better when Steve and I are not in camp together. Because like the Gene Silva fight, like they changed opponents on me 3 weeks out, and actually they Steven fought the last fight card of the year. I fought in the first fight card of the year. There's only like 3 weeks uh,
Silva's one of
difference,
the scariest guys, even with the right circumstances.
and yeah, it was his debut, and there was no footage on him at the time. There was nothing like that. They scrubbed the internet of any footage of Gene Silva. I only had one fight to go off of, and so and they told me like, hey, you're not gonna fight your original opponent. You're gonna fight Gene Silva now on 3 week notice. I was at Steven's fight against Shavkat at the time, and so I lose to him, and yeah, so then the Jekka fight, like I got a full 8 weeks to get ready for Jekka. And I think the UFC like expected me to lose to Jekka as well. And I think they wanted me to lose to Jekka because like you said, they were they were hoping that he would be, the big star in Indonesia. And but Jekka had a big hole in his game. He couldn't grapple, and I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu, so like we went in with a game plan. We got to focus on that game plan, and I had everybody in the gym helping me get ready for that fight. And that was yeah, it was awesome. It was great because um, we gotta really focus and hone in on one specific game plan for one specific opponent for like a 7 to 8 week period.
Yeah, that's definitely a lot of valuable insight, and definitely I wasn't aware of that whole backstory. Um, but yeah, we saw you fight most recently this past February. I guess do you have a specific timeline or promotion you're looking to get back into the cage or octagon next?
There's one area that I haven't gone to fight, and I've done very well in a boxing ring. Actually, like between pro boxing and MMA, I'm undefeated in a boxing ring. I fought 5 of my total fights, 4 MMA fights, and 1 pro boxing match, and I'm undefeated in a boxing ring. So I would love to fight in Risen. So I'm fighting August 22nd against Jeremy Holloway, who's PFL and Bellator vet.
Yeah.
He fought MVP and a few other big names. So plan on going out, submitting him real quick, and then hopefully getting to turn around and fight in Risen. We'll see what
New
happens
Year's Eve
though.
card maybe.
Yeah, maybe or their November card or the well, actually no, I can't fight in November. Pretty much from September through November, I won't fight. But yeah, whatever comes that way.
And you obviously stay busy outside of fighting, with your full-time career, and you also run combat labs. So I guess what is that process like? Getting promotions and I guess networking through combat labs.
Yeah, so I started that up during COVID as a way to get fights and a way to get my teammates fights because my background's in software. So I spun up live streaming software, and at the time there's only Fight TV. So I was like, hey, Fight TV, I'm gonna go against you. And so I went and grabbed all their clients that were close to me where I could say, hey, I'll do your shows for free. You can live stream for free on my platform, and uh I just asked that you put me on and let me fight. And so that's how I went 10-2 in a 24-month span during COVID, which was why I got signed to the UFC. I was more active than anybody at the time. While everybody else was like just starting to get back into activity, like I had amassed a 10-2 record in that time. 11-2 if you count my boxing. But yeah, I mean that then now, it just kind of runs itself. I don't even put any marketing dollars into the platform. And the crazy thing about the platform is like it's a full event management system. So it's not just live stream. Like I do the ticketing, I do accounting, I do marketing, I do like in that platform, a promoter can soup to nuts do everything they need to put on a show. They can build out their fight cards. They can build in like the fighter profiles and keep track of medical records and everything and send it all to the commission. Yeah, it's a pretty sweet piece of software that I've just done nothing with.
And yeah, I guess getting back to your fight with Jeremy Holloway, I guess how do you feel you match up? And is there a specific prediction you have for the fight?
You know, historically, I've always done well against tall guys. So we're both the same height. We're both over 6 feet, and he's a long rangey striker. Where he has struggled in the past is grappling, where I excel is grappling. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna just tire him out, take him down, beat him up on the ground, and do my thing. Like I'm not gonna try to prove anything to anyone. I'm not gonna I'm just gonna go and take the victory in the best way I can and do my thing.
And for people to keep up with your career, where is best to follow you, keep up with fight
Yeah,
news,
follow
fighting?
me on Instagram. I'll be launching soon. I'm gonna do a 100-man kumite in January, so I'll fight 100 people. And so I'm gonna start posting a lot more and organizing my content a lot more to basically do the road to 100. Getting you know
I may opt out of
showing
that
that
one.
progression to a 100-man kumite.
And then lastly, I know you're a big BYU guy. We're heading into football season. How do you think the roster's looking this year?
Dude, I don't follow uh,
Ah,
college football that much. Um, Here's the thing with BYU: they always have a strong start to the season, and then they screw it up in the end. And so I don't know. I hope they do well. It'd be great, but I don't have a lot of faith in them.
yeah. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to join me, and yeah, best of luck in your fight October 22nd, and hopefully we see you in Japan before too long.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it, man.